The North Ridgeville City Council meeting is now in session. Today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. Please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Father, we gather here tonight grateful for this opportunity to serve our city and its people. We thank you for the gift of community, for the leaders assembled, and for all who call North Ridgeville home. May this meeting foster unity and guide our words and actions towards what is right and beneficial. We offer this prayer in humility and hope. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Rogerson.
Here.
Holub.
Here.
Avens.
Here.
Winkle.
Here.
Volansky.
Here.
Zingali.
Here.
Swink.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Law Director.
Here.
City Engineer.
Here.
Finance Director.
Here.
Clerk of Council. Here.
Tonight we have our approval of minutes, and City Council has received the regular City Council meeting minutes dated January 20th, 2026. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none, those minutes stand approved. Council has also received the Park and Recreation Commission meeting minutes dated December 3rd, 2025, the Planning Commission meeting minutes dated January 13th, 2026, and the Board of Zoning and Building Appeals meeting minutes dated January 22nd, 2026. On to our lobby session. At this time, I will open up the lobby session for members of the public to address City Council. I will ask you to state your name and address for the record at the podium. You will have 3 minutes to discuss any topic of your choice, and I will start off with written submissions, and it's from Mr. Robert Baumgartner.
Robert Baumgartner, 6327 Stony Ridge Road. Just wanted to give an update to council. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to our city's public works officer, or our city public works department, for the upkeep they've done on our roads for the last few storms. They did a really great job. It's been pretty nasty out there, and I know they work some long hours, so I just want to take a moment and acknowledge the work they've done. Second, something the law director said last meeting about transparency and them responding to records. I still have lawsuits against the city because they have not released records regarding our mayor's campaign donors and contracts according to those donors. Also, I requested a police department climate survey, which the city responded. It is not a record because it was never used by the city in any way. I asked them to clarify that the mayor, the police chief, or the safety service director had never reviewed this record, and I've gotten silence from them on that as well. So there's a lot of selective stuff happening in the law office, it seems. But that's it. I just wanted to give an update, let council know what's going on. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgartner. Is there any other member of the audience that wishes to speak at this time? Hearing none, the lobby session will now be closed. On to administrator's report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to also acknowledge our Public Works Department. They've been hard at work. As you know, it hasn't stopped snowing for like a week and a half, it seems. They have put in a lot of hard work. They did have a couple of, at least one major water main break that happened on Saturday night, and a lot of work went into that. But they've put in a lot of hard work. We have used a lot of salt, as you know. There's been a lot of media attention to this, but the region has a salt problem. There's more demand than there is supply. Cargill, the salt company, has had a lot of problems meeting the demands of the area municipalities. And we are no different here. We are very low on salt. They did tell us that we're probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks before we'll get another delivery. That means that we will be very limited in salting our roads from this point forward. There have been other attempts to try and find salt from other places, and we have talked to a couple of people that could help us get the salt. But we were told by Cargill, even if we sent a truck, that they wouldn't be able to fill it. So that's where we are with that. But I do want to point out that sidewalks and clearing of sidewalks specifically have been an issue during this storm. I know we've gotten more snow than we have over the last couple of winters, but that does not excuse your clearing of your sidewalk. We have an ordinance to that effect. It does talk about 12 hours after a storm, and we have many people that are not clearing them. The whole reason for that ordinance existence is because we're worried about pedestrian safety. And more importantly, in these days, with this kind of weather, there's not too many people walking around other than school children. And so for the safety of the children, I want to remind everybody that you need to clear your sidewalk. And it is the law. And there are some tickets that can be handed out if you do not fulfill your obligations. So we'd rather not do that to people. So please get your sidewalks cleared off. We have several pieces of legislation that will be asking for the emergency clause this evening. There will be some deeper discussions on some of these, but I can tell you that Ordinance 2026-9, 2026-10, and 2026-12, 2026-13 we'll be asking for the emergency clause for all of those, and also the possibility of one other. But financial legislation, we always ask for the emergency clause. It's always so that way we have the necessary funds to meet our financial obligations. And April, our finance director, had put out a lengthy memo to all of you so that way you can understand the reasons why we're asking for these changes and also the emergency clause itself. Grant money is 12, and that's coming through NOPEC. NOPEC gives us an annual grant, and we've been using that money towards roundabout projects for the last several years. I think in all the years that we've received this grant, I think we only used it once for LED lighting in the buildings here at City Hall, which have all been addressed. And then 13 are traffic cameras that are for the signals, not for the movement of the vehicles, but for the signals themselves. So they look for the traffic and they control the signalization with those movements. And so that's when I say traffic camera, that's what it's looking at. It's looking at the traffic, not for purposes of giving out tickets. Our police department do not have any of those types of cameras. So we have existing cameras right now all throughout the Center Ridge Road corridor that were put in during the widening project. We have one over at Chestnut and Lear. We have two at the intersection of Lear and Lorraine. We also have one at Route and Lorraine, and all those cameras will be replaced in this program. This was discussed at the appropriations meetings and was passed as part of the budget, so the funding is there for them. The difference with these cameras versus the existing ones, the system that was put in back then, I know it saved money from what I remember. I was on council at the time. It saved money over what the project was supposed to cost, but just like most technology, there's been improvements over the years. And the current technology is with this company called MioVision, and the city of Lorraine uses these cameras. And they are all connected cellularly to the internet. So there's some advantages to having that. Our current system is not connected. They have hard drives in the traffic boxes. It records the video on there that sometimes the police will use for traffic accidents. But one of the downsides, couple of the downsides, is that since they aren't connected, we don't have a live look at those cameras. And also that leads to issues with both software updates to those cameras and also notifications that the camera isn't working correctly. So with the newer system, we would have those software updates happening just like your cell phone gets updated. Those cameras would be updated since they're connected cellularly. And also, police department would have a live look at those cameras and could control intersections from the police department rather than, in some cases, having to stand on site. And then also the cameras themselves would send out notifications when they're not working correctly. So there's advantages to having this new system put in place. So the faster we can get that changed out, the better it will be for the community and our police department overall. So that's that. And just wanted to mention that City Hall offices will be closed on Monday, February 16th in observance of President's Day, and that means the council meeting will be bumped to February 17th due to that holiday. And at this point, I make the motion to go into executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of public officials or employees.
Second.
It was moved by Mayor Corcoran and seconded by Councilman Winkle to enter into executive session. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
No.
Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
No.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries and begin executive session.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
I move to end executive session and go back into regular session.
I second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Rogerson to exit executive session and re-enter regular city council. All in favor say yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Opposed say no. We are now back into regular session.
Madam
Mayor?
President, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Engineer?
I don't have any updates today, Madam President. Thank you.
Sounds good. Director of Finance?
Thank you, Madam President. As noted, the Finance Department has issued its December 2025 financial report. This report is preliminary and subject to the pending completion of the annual audit, which typically begins in March. Once the audit is completed, a final report will be issued. In advance of this meeting, I provided council a memorandum detailing the financial legislation before you tonight under first reading. Ordinance number 2026-9 is an ordinance amending annual appropriation. This budget amendment includes several key items. First, it accounts for salary and fringe benefit increases for members of the ASME union following council's adoption of the 2026 to 2028 contract in December of 2026. It also reflects healthcare election changes resulting from open enrollment. In addition, the amendment includes funding for a new ambulance for the fire department. Council authorized the purchase through Ordinance 2025-149. While the ambulance was appropriated last year, delays in purchasing the truck require us to reappropriate those funds at this time. Finally, the amendment addresses the Park and Rec Master Plan, which is before council under second readings as Ordinance 2026-4. This project was approved and appropriated by council in 2025. The Park and Rec Department requested the appropriation be moved to 2026 to allow additional time for firm selection. Also on the agenda tonight is Resolution 2026-10, authorizing fund transfers. As part of the annual appropriation process, council authorized several fund transfers necessary to support debt service obligations, payroll reserve, and ongoing capital improvement and equipment needs. While council adopted Ordinance 2025-158 to establish the budget authority for these transfers, this resolution represents the second step in this process, allowing the Finance Department to formally move the funds. I would like to ask council to consider adopting both pieces of legislation this evening with the emergency clause to ensure the financial resources are in place to meet our obligation. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Director of Finance. In addition to the December 2025 financial report that was just mentioned by Director of Finance Wilkerson, City Council has also received the December 2025 Park and Recreation Division report, the November 2025 Police Department report, and the December 2025 Police Department report. No council committee reports. There's some correspondence. Clerk, if you could please read the first correspondence.
Dated January 19, 2026, from Finance Director April Wilkerson, accompanied by the City Engineer's memorandum indicating that the 2026 water rate increase per codified ordinance 1046.05D, and that the new rate will take effect on February 1st, 2026.
Thank you. If you can read the second correspondence.
Correspondence. Dear member of City Council, I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank Cliff Winkle, Ward 4 councilperson, and Frank Vaca, president of the school board, for their efforts following the recent snowstorm. Their willingness to work together to ensure that the crosswalk on Bainbridge, directly across from the schools, was cleared of snow did not go unnoticed and was greatly appreciated. This crosswalk has been a consistent concern in the past, as snow was often pushed into the crossing area, creating a safety issue for the residents. Thanks to the attention and cooperation, students were able to cross safely and easily today, even after the major snowfall of this past week. It is reassuring to know that we have community leaders who are attentive, responsive, and genuinely care about the safety and well-being of our children. Their actions reflect a strong commitment to our community, and I'm grateful for their dedication and teamwork. Sincerely, Helen Johnson, Crossing Guard.
Thank you, Mr. Winkle. Okay, at this point, we have no old business, no news business, and we are at the point of recess.
Madam President, I move to dispense with recess.
I second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Rogerson to dispense with recess. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. Okay, recess is dispensed, and we will move on to first readings. Up first, we have ordinance number 2026-9. Clerk, if you could please read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2025-158 of the City of North Ridgeville, Ohio, providing appropriations for the period commencing January 1st, 2026, and ending December 31st, 2026.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
I move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
this is, the Director of Finance spoke about this earlier. There was also information that was sent to all of the council members before this meeting. There's a lot to digest in 2026-9. In addition, what the Director of Finance spoke of, there's some grant money we're receiving from Columbia Gas and some from the Corn Fest as part of this as well. We have increases for the ASME contract and also carryovers for ambulance and for the study for the Parks and Recs improvement. I also like to point out that the lion's share of 2026-9 is the three items I just mentioned, more so than any else in the 2026-9. So for the reasons stated by the Director of Finance earlier and the explanation I just gave, eventually I will be requesting an emergency clause if we get that far. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winkle. The motion was made by Winkle and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for ordinance 2026-9. Any comments or questions?
Madam President,
Ms. Singali?
I do have a question for the Finance Department. This seems to be a very broad spectrum of appropriations across multiple funds and purposes. Can you identify which specific line items, if this failed to go under an emergency clause tonight, would become unlawful or result in things like missed payroll or us missing contractual obligations that would constitute an emergency? Excuse me.
So there are several, actually. We have the council salary increase that is included in this amendment. Those lines need to be amended and their associated benefits. There's several departments. You can see in the ordinance the fund numbers that are impacted by the ASME wage increase. That would be including clothing allowance, which is unbudgeted right now, as well as pension benefits. That would be street construction, M&R, motor vehicle license, water, sewer, stormwater, not to mention open enrollment benefit election changes that would impact French Creek, the general fund, as well as fire levy. There's also the custodial cleaning contract, which was signed at the end of last year. That would impact senior center and grounds maintenance, the ability to continue with custodial services. Grounds maintenance has no funding for their custodial as of today. So not passing this with the ordinance would not allow those items to be appropriated.
Madam President?
Yes, Ms.
One more question is, are these all new appropriations, or is this something that we could have started looking at appropriating for at our meeting on the 5th to avoid the emergency clause usage?
No, these are items, I typically collect all of the requests from the departments, and then once I have a group collected, instead of trying to amend every single meeting, I will then present that to council for an amendment.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, once again, it was moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for ordinance 2026-9. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Madam President, move to adopt.
Second.
Madam President, I move to add the emergency clause for reasons stated prior, by several people prior to the statement.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to ordinance 2026-9 for the reasons stated by Councilman Winkle and the Finance Director earlier. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to adopt ordinance 2026-9 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any other additional comments or questions at this time?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Lewinsky?
I would just like to make an additional comment. Not every single person is at every single meeting or watches every single meeting, so they may miss some. But we've been talking about how the emergency clause moves everything up 30 days. So if we don't pass something with the emergency clause, there'll be a delay. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there is an emergency. It's a terminology. Maybe it's not the greatest terminology, but it's what we have to work with. But if somebody needs to, somebody needs to get financed, it would delay everything if we don't do an emergency. Just wanted to be clear to the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilansky. Any other comments or questions? All right, at this time, clerk, can you please call the roll?
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
Yes.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries and 2026-9 has been adopted.
Okay, if you could read 2026-10.
A resolution authorizing fund transfers.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
I move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
similar to what the 2026-9 we just talked about, 2026-10 is moving money from one account to another. Money's been collected already. We have separation responsibilities for retirements and such that have to be sent over to the accounts to actually spend them from. We've collected the money, now we want to spend it. The same applies to water, sewer, and French Creek for both our bond payments and our capital projects, to put them in the accounts we can actually use them for. So we're not increasing any budgets, we're just sliding money from one account to another. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director of Finance, but that's how I understand it.
You have that correct.
And to avoid any balances going to a zero level as we spend money in the first quarter this year, I will be asking for the emergency clause on this as well when we get to that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Winkle. The motion was made by Winkle and seconded by Abens to dispense with the second and third readings for ordinance 2026-10. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Madam President, move to adopt.
Second.
Madam President, move the emergency clause for the reasons I previously stated.
Second.
It was moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to add the emergency clause to 2026-10 for the reasons stated by Councilman Winkle and the Director of Finance in her report. For on the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was then moved by Winkle and seconded by Abens to adopt 2026-10 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Clerk, please call the roll.
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
Yes.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries and 2026-10 has been adopted.
2026-11.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 2025-107, Exhibits A, B, and C.
2026-12.
An ordinance authorizing all actions necessary to accept the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, 2026 Energized Community Grants.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Mayor?
move to dispense with the second and third readings.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Rogerson to dispense with the second and third readings for 2026-12. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no.
Madam President, move to adopt.
Second.
Madam President, move to add the emergency clause so that way we can receive these funds in a timely manner. This is money coming in, not money that we are spending.
Second.
It was moved by the mayor and seconded by Rogerson to add the emergency clause for 2026-12 for the reasons stated by the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no. It was then moved by the mayor and seconded by Rogerson to adopt 2026-12 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time? Clerk, please call the roll.
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Abens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
Yes.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries and 2026-12 has been adopted.
2026-13.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to enter into an agreement for the purchase and installation of traffic monitoring equipment and supplies through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services or the Ohio Department of Transportation Cooperative Purchase Program, according to law and in a manner prescribed by law.
I will make a motion to dispense with the second and third readings for 2026-13.
Second.
Is that Bob?
Yep.
Motion was made by Swank and seconded by Holub to dispense with the second and third readings for 2026-13. All in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
No.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Avens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
No.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I will also make a motion to adopt.
Second.
I will also make a motion to add the emergency clause to 2026-13 and the reasons for the safety and welfare of our citizens, as well as the mayor's report when he had mentioned this legislation. If you have anything else to add, Mayor Corcoran?
Nope, everything I said was appropriate at the time of my report.
Second.
Thank you.
Madam President, would
Can
you,
1 minute?
I'm sorry.
It was moved by Swank and seconded by Holub to add the emergency clause to 2026-13 for the reasons stated by myself and the mayor. On the emergency clause alone, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
No.
Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Rogerson,
Yes.
Holub,
Yes.
Avens,
Yes.
Winkle,
Yes.
Wolanski,
Yes.
Zingali,
No.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries.
It was then moved by Swank and seconded by Holub to adopt 2026-13 with the emergency clause in place. Are there any comments or questions at this time?
Madam President,
Mr. Wolanski?
not to put you on the spot, but can you elaborate a little bit why we need this?
This is the camera system that the mayor had mentioned in his report. It's not cameras to take pictures of your cars. It's to control the red lights in the intersections. So say when 83 gets backed up, it'll change the trajectory of how the red lights work. If there's school letting out at Ranger Way, it could potentially eliminate the police officer that stands there to physically change the lights. If the mayor would like to also.
Yeah, again, the remote viewing of those cameras is a main priority. The ability to update them, overnight or whenever there's an update available. The idea that, we can access those cameras for the police department in traffic accidents remotely rather than having to go and download a disc from the box in the intersection. So there's just a bunch of different reasons, but mainly, the faster we can move, the faster we can correct the problems that exist. I forgot to mention the notifications that the camera's not working correctly. Right now, we don't know until somebody complains, and that's usually because somebody got angry enough waiting at the light for, weeks maybe before we find out that it's not working. So that's a huge benefit to the public and to their safety.
And I would like to add, Mr. Wolanski, I don't know if you're familiar with the police chase that went through North Ridgeville just in the past week or so. I was at 83 in Center Ridge, and we weren't getting an arrow, so traffic was backed up to South Central. And I happened to be listening to the police scanner, and they called one of our officers to jump on Route 10 to potentially spike the car that was on the run. And he said, I'm stuck in this traffic on 83, I can't get there in time. So to me, this is a safety thing for the community, because had he not been stuck in that traffic from not getting, and it's not just 83 and Center Ridge, it's Pitts Boulevard. I mean, you could sit there for 4 different light transitions that it won't turn green. Emerald Street, where
Yeah,
Pizza
Giant
Hut is.
Eagle,
Giant
Mark's.
Eagle, Mark's. It's, the system that we have is very outdated. We budgeted for it. It's in the budget. We've approved the budget for it. And the quote is only good until February 13th, because I spoke with Mr. Montgomery about that. So it's more of a safety thing than many.
So, Madam President, thank you. And I don't ask that just for myself. I believe I'm already sold on the situation, but I think the explanation to the citizens of the city, especially if we're adopting and moving past second and third hearings, those are the kinds of things that I think people appreciate hearing. Thank you.
Not a problem. Does
Madam
anybody-
President?
Yes?
I just want to be clear, fully support these cameras. I do, though, believe that when it comes to ordinances like this, we should be giving community members the opportunity to kind of catch wind and come in, ask any questions,
Yep,
let them be involved. So, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
I would just like to add, and I implore any fellow council members, administration with that appropriations to chime in if I'm incorrect, but this was something that it is appropriate for, like you mentioned, also was specifically requested for by our Director of Public Works, John Montgomery, because another aspect that he mentioned during that meeting was that he has to do a hard reset on these cameras every time they go out and they go down. It's not a matter of just doing it remotely, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. There's no remote capabilities to it. This is why this was an ask towards the end of his session, if I remember correctly, where, what else can we do to make them more efficient in what they do as well, so not run around the city trying to, reset cameras that may or may not work. So, just want to add that too. Thank you.
Yes, and it's also my understanding we have to call out the Grid Smart, and they have to be available, and they have to come out and fix it. Any other comments or questions? All right, let me repeat this. It was moved by Swank and seconded by Holub to adopt 2026-13 with the emergency clause in place. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Rogerson?
Yes.
Holub?
Yes.
Abens?
Yes.
Winkle?
Yes.
Wolanski?
Yes.
Zingali?
Yes.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries, and 2026-13 has been adopted.
Okay, on to second readings. 2026-4.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville to enter into a contract according to law and in a manner prescribed by law with McKenna for the city of North Ridgeville Parks and Recreation 2026 Master Plan not to exceed $149,000.
2025, or 2026-5.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of North Ridgeville, Ohio to advertise for bids and enter into a contract for a 12-month period according to law and in a manner prescribed by law for the purchase of chemicals to be used by the French Creek wastewater treatment plant.
On to third readings, if you could read 2026-1.
A resolution authorizing the Director of Planning and Development to apply on behalf of the city of North Ridgeville for funding from ODOT's Highway Safety Improvement Program for systemic pedestrian safety improvements along Lorraine Road, authorizing funds for the required local match, and authorizing the mayor to accept the funding if awarded and to execute a contract with the state of Ohio.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Wolanski?
move to adopt.
Second.
It was moved by Wolanski and seconded by Rogerson to adopt 2026-1.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Winkle?
in prior meetings, I've discussed giving the Director of Development an extra 30 days to be able to prepare this application. And with that in mind, and to give her those extra 30 days to do that, I would move to add the emergency clause to this, to 2026-1.
Is there a second?
Second.
That was in stereo. All right, the motion was made by Winkle and seconded by Rogerson to add the emergency clause to 2026-1. All in favor say yes.
Yes.
All opposed say no. It was moved by Wolanski and seconded by Rogerson to adopt 2026-1. Are there any comments or questions?
Madam President?
Ms. Zingali?
I definitely support this ordinance. However, during the readings of this, I've had a couple concerns, but mainly moving forward, I hope to note that council's decisions should be guided by verified information, and any statements about guaranteed or permanent future consequences, like the loss of funding and future funding, should be supported by documentation so council can properly evaluate that and make their decisions without any influence or attempted influence on future votes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Zingali. Any other comments or questions? Okay, if you could, clerk, call the roll.
Rogerson.
Yes.
Holub.
Yes.
Abens.
Yes.
Winkle.
Yes.
Wolanski.
Yes.
Zingali.
Yes.
Swink.
Yes.
Motion carries, and 2026-1 has been adopted.
All right, the next regular city council meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 at 7 PM here in council chambers. And at this time, does any member of council have anything further at this time? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.